What's up, guys? Welcome to Tutorial Tuesday. I know I've missed a few. I'm gonna try to get back on track with this again, or I might be doing a more monthly thing, but it's gonna be really in-depth. So we're gonna see how it goes. I'll keep you guys informed. Let's go ahead and change my text up here because what we're working on today is hair. So I hope everyone's good today. Like I said, we're gonna be going over hair. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. If not, let me know in chat. For those of you who are listening in on YouTube at a later time, hi, I'm Rin. I record these live on twitch.tv/RinTheYordle, and then I post it up to my fantastic YouTube people. So hopefully this will be of use to you guys. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. You're more than welcome to come give suggestions while I'm streaming. It's usually every Tuesday around 12 to 12:30 Mountain Standard Time. That's Arizona time. I don't have daylights. Keep that in mind. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. What's up, dudes? Change my music real quick because we're listening to Monster Cat. Alright, so it was requested by Akashika to have a hair tutorial. So I'm going to be kind of quick about this. But we'll try to give you guys kind of an idea of how I make hair. But first and foremost, once again, we're going to be looking to the fabulous internet and looking for some pictures. Let's go ahead and find these here. People faces. Here we go. Here's some nice hair. I like this. So I found this drawing, or this picture, I'm sorry, from wallpaperhigh.com, giving the credit out. Thank you very much for that. So there's our picture, right? Now, I want you guys to kind of look at people's hair in general before we start doing this. Again, we need to take from real life on this, because even anime kind of uses a little bit of these ideas, right? We know in the human mind, and like as we sit here and play with our own hair or have brushed our own hair and everything else we've done in our lives, there's a lot of little itty bitty strands in here, right? Technically, what you see though is completely different. What you actually see out of these pictures, out of what your mind sees, you know there's a lot of single every pieces of strands of hair, but what you actually see isn't that at all. So let's take a closer look at this hair, right? So we've got look at how this goes. The shades actually end up making the shape, right? Alright, we're going to pause for a second here, actually, before I go any further. My internet seems to be lagging out for whatever reason. Looks like I'm solid, so we'll pick it back up. For those of you on YouTube, we're going to have a little bit of a cut here that I'm going to place the two videos together. Sorry about that. It would seem that my internet likes to have little cuts in and out. It's very mean to me. So, I apologize about that. It just likes jumping in and out sometimes where I have to refresh my router really quick. That's, well, the name of the internet service provider is Cox. So, I'm sure you can tell the jokes that come out of that. Anyway, back to the tutorial. Alright. So, again, as I was saying, we know that hair is single strands everywhere, but it's not what we actually see. What we end up seeing and what we can end up doing with art is we see chunks of hair. Like, look, this is a chunk here. This right here. And then she's got another little red strand here. And then the darker piece is right here. And then we've got darkness back here, which is the shading. Because it's, you know, some of the hair is falling back behind there. And then it goes up a little bit lighter, so it starts to fade up into here. A little bit lighter here because this is the highlights of the hair. Here's the background kind of fading in to the hair a little bit. So really, it's all just pieces. Like, it's shapes rather than being full just strands of hair. So doing hair and making hair, you're going to want to make those shapes first, and then you can add the fine detail of where you see all these little strands of hair because their hair is really messy. You know what I mean? Once you get the basis of these shapes down, where the highlight should be and where the shade should be, and what color should go here, and kind of fading into this and fading into that, then you can go back, take these pieces, really make a fine brush, and start doing the other little detailed bits. Right? Okay. So we're gonna really quickly try to show you that. So we're gonna just try to get a face in here really quick. Actually, I got an idea. I'm just gonna look off of a drawing that's a little, or look off of a picture. So we'll try to copy this again. Just gonna really quickly sketch her face and more or less focus just on the hair itself, so. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sketching in the pieces that I see. Kind of getting the shape of the hair down, the contour if you will, for at least just the outside of the hair. I think it'd be kind of however you want it to be too. Hair's kind of fun, and you can really be all over the place with it. You don't have to be super specific because you can start, like I said, you just kind of get the basics down first. And then you can really start getting the extra details and stuff in. So don't worry too much if your sketch doesn't go exactly how you want it to right away, or, you know, what you want to do with that. It's alright, just have fun with it. Try to just follow how the shapes go. If you're trying to draw from something, or if you're trying to think about curly hair or stuff like that, look off of other people's curly hair. Look off of other pictures of real life. Go to real life, look at curly hair. Look at how anime does it. Look at how your favorite artist does it. See all these different people and then start trying to make up your own blueprints for this. So I'm looking off of this, but I know when I go back to drawing something of my own, I'm gonna go back and be like, oh yeah, so when this girl had really kind of like wavy, fun hair, but I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna kind of use some of these waves that she had in her hair. It was really fun and interesting. It kind of looped back into itself and kept, you know, and then the ends went straight. So it's kind of loops right here, probably from where it cups around your ears sometimes. Kin asked how long I'll be drawing for. I'll be drawing for quite a while today, probably at least 3 or 4 hours. We'll have our tutorials and then I'll go back to regular work. So alright. So I feel like I've got the general shape of her hair kind of going on here, right? So now, I have my opacity, or opacity, however you want to say that, set down a little bit. So I'm going to start adding in the shades. Now, some people like doing this in color first. Some people like going in black and white. I'm just going to show you in black and white. If you do it in black and white, make sure that you don't color in the white unless you have your own overlay and multiply layers set later and you know what you're doing with that. Otherwise, I would suggest maybe just practicing this before you do a full color scale, because if you mess up your colors, you can't really, like, you can go back and try to do stuff, but it's going to put more work on you. Ninsa? Okay, I'll call you Ninsa? Nyansa. Are you a cat? Nyansa. So I'm going in and literally trying to emphasize where these dark areas are, right? I know where some of these shapes are going. And that's what we're going to try to emphasize. We're going to emphasize where her hair is making these dark areas. And you can be really blocky with it. Some people really like smoothing these things out. I've been in more of a circle brush where I just kind of slowly start to scratch everything in. It's just been a comfortable way for me to work. That just depends on your style. This is my style and the way that I work. So that's just directly on how you want to work. Use the sketch to your advantage too, you know? Use those lines that you placed in to make interesting shapes for you too. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to follow exactly along. I'm making stuff up as I see, you know, what I've got going on here for the hair, right? I'm sorry for not detailing her face in right now. I'm literally just focusing on hair. That's the big thing. Remember again, guys, always use your eraser. You can use your eraser as a tool, okay? Don't be afraid. Don't think that you have to only use the eraser to erase stuff. You can use the eraser to make shapes too, right? So if you've gone too dark in these areas, start, you know, highlighting it back out and making these hairlines and hair details back, scratching it back in with your eraser. You're going to be using both quite frequently, so don't think that you need to just use one or the other, okay? And always just try to keep in mind about where highlights are at, guys, because that's really going to emphasize. See how when the hair, when it's looping out, the top of the loop is actually where most of the highlight is? Keep that in mind. That's going to really emphasize your hair. You're going to go from these darker shades where the hair has been hiding behind other sections of hair. And then it's going to loop back up into this nice lighter color. And then go back into a slightly darker face. I usually start off with a darker color, and then I'll grab a slightly lighter color and start scratching in some detail too. Hair, 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 hair. Hair's fun, really. You get to be really kind of sporadic with it. As long as you understand the basics and know the blueprints of it, you can just kind of have fun and go all over the place with it. And why did I pick long hair? Because long hair is really fun. It's like spaghetti noodles all over the place. Just woo! Just goes crazy. Go crazy! You can really start scratching in details just kind of all over the place here. And yeah, that's all we're really gonna do, is do darker spots next to the highlights. That'll really help emphasize where the highlighted hair is showing up from. Okay. Do these nice gray spots in between that can help make that gradient exchange in between the lighter and darker spots, if you really need to. But make sure that you always have that contrast still. You want to have that crazy amount of contrast in between the lights and darks, because if you don't and you just have everything blurred out, it's gonna look really bad. Because if you have a consistent gradient all the time, you're not gonna have these nice areas. See right here where it's dark right up against that light? That makes that highlight, that section of the hair, pop. Okay? If you blur everything, like, it's all just gonna blur to the mind. If you gradient everything, that's what it's gonna look like to you. It's just gonna look blurry, it's gonna look all over the place, it's not gonna make any sense, you're not gonna have any details, okay? I'm literally only using maybe 2 colors right now. I'm using the eraser for my highlights, this lighter gray color to kind of scratch in some of the gradient color in between, and then that dark. And that's it. That's it. Granted, again, I have the opacity set down on my actual tool to fairly low. Alright. Now that we've got some of our darker and highlights in, we can start getting more detailed, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of like this. This is nice. It's not what, like, one-for-one aspect of this exact drawing over here, or this exact painting. God, no, this picture. I want to say it's a painting because she's too perfect. I wish I was pretty like her. Anyway, you know, it doesn't have to be exact. Just kind of follow along. Unless you're trying to go for exact, then, you know, that's your realism part of it. I'm just doing how I've learned how to make hair. And I'm making hair based off of what I see. And kind of showing you guys, as I've recognized from real life perspective, having that realistic influence can really, really, really help with what you're going to get yourself into. Okay? So always go off of real life. Always look what's around you, because it will really help you with making characters, with... you know, with even doing realism, looking off of real life, from not doing realism to moving it into cartoons. It's gonna help you. Please, 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 please don't get locked up into going, well, I want to look like anime. That's fine. That's fine. It's totally okay if that's what your style is. But you need to look off of real life to get ideas of how this shading's gonna work and how you're gonna make things pop and turn it into what your style is. Be it realism, be it crazy shapes and colors, whatever it is, you're gonna be using these shapes and colors, you're gonna be using these ideas from real life to make sense of whatever your style is going to use, okay? These are your foundations, these are your blueprints to make what you want for later. It took me a long time to get out of that, and I still keep coming back to realism when I'm stuck. When I am stuck on my art, and I'm like, man, I can't make this look right. I can't do it. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Why is this not working? I will go back to real life look at stuff and then start trying to make blueprints out of it that I can translate into my style. Jedi asked, are braids any different when it comes to shading? Actually, no. You're going to be using that same idea. You're going to be using the dark areas to enhance where the braids are interacting. I'll try to get you an idea of a braid right now. Let's see here. There we go. So here's a picture of a braid, right? Remember I said we're going to take those shapes and kind of make sense of it? It's what we're going to do here, because those dark areas are going to enhance where the light comes up, and it makes sense to our eyes that we are seeing braids. The hair is braided, okay? Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. Alright, so once again, we're going to get just the general shape going on here. I'm not going to really detail this girl's face right now. But, you know, just kind of getting the general idea of where her face is, right? So, okay, let's see if I can sketch this out. We've got this here, goes into here. And then this piece of hair goes over here. And then there's the other piece that kind of goes back under. And then this starts to mend into it as well. Then you've got another piece that comes back down. Alright, now I'm getting the pattern. Cool. So both of these are kind of going into here. Covers up this area. And again.
Hey guys, it's Varian, and you're listening to the Monster Cat podcast. Coming up next is part 1 of my upcoming EP with 7 Minutes Dead, Midai Sakai.
This will come down into here. I'm not even trying to be perfect, right? I'm not even trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to understand where the basics of this is kind of coming in from. Because you've got this crossing over here. This tucks in under that one. The top also kind of mends into here, which makes this other area that kind of comes down from here. It's really dark in this area. Next piece does the same thing, but we have this cross braid, piece that kind of comes down to it, piece that comes out, and so on and so forth. Alright, so I've got the basis of the hair braid kind of going on here. I see where it starts to cross. I kind of understand where it's going from. And I can start erasing these highlighted areas that I want to make and detailing these darker areas. So the darker areas are literally where the hair starts to get really tight in between the braids. And showing off those sections. So we've got tighter area here, tighter area here. Starts to blend a little bit right here. This is dark because these are 2 sections of hair that are actually overlapping underneath the main part of the hair. Alright, and see? Even just with the quick little, smudges of dark paint that I've got in there, it starts to form itself, right? That's why I really like these circle brushes right now. I can just kind of splatter stuff around and keep form and shape. Just forming stuff. It's like molding clay almost. You just get to put little pieces in. Keep taking out, keep adding in. It's like charcoal too. Like I just keep adding stuff in and it just makes sense to me. And there you have it. Scribbles! Whee! Scribbles! But yeah, that's all you need to do. Just start getting the basic sketching, kind of get an idea, and then keep detailing from there and keep adding in and doing what you need to kind of get those ideas out. Once you've got a blueprint, you can start using that to whatever else you're trying to do. Okay? Just keep practicing off of these real life details. Whoops. Go, okay, I think I've got a general understanding. Doesn't have to be anything perfect. I'm not sitting here trying to do each fine little detail. I'm just getting the idea of what's going on, and then I can start, you know, making the extra little hair strands and stuff like that later to really enhance it. But right now, I've got the general idea, and I could totally keep going back in and making all the little extra details as I need to make this hair. But be sporadic with hair. Have fun with hair. You can literally scribble a lot of stuff in and it'll start looking okay. As long as you get those dark areas, the mediums where you're going to have a little bit of the gradient, and then the highlights that are going to overlap pretty close to those dark areas. You gotta start being able to understanding contrast, seeing contrast in real life, and being able to apply that to whatever you're doing. Okay, guys? But that's the basics of hair. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit today. If you enjoyed this, if you want to learn something else from me, please let me know. You can let me know on Twitter, twitter.com/RinTheYordle. You can also let me know here on Twitch or on YouTube, whichever you guys are watching it on. YouTube is RinElenika. That's RinElenika. And my Twitch is twitch.tv/RinTheYordle. Yordle is spelled YORDLE, okay? So again, guys, thank you very much. Hopefully this was good for you. Sorry for the little hiccup in between where my internet was acting up. And I will see you guys later. For those of you who are watching me on Twitch, don't go away. I'm going to shut off really quick, come back right back on, and I'm going to be working again, okay? So enjoy, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.